What's up YouTube? Welcome back to MMOSWORLD. We are going to be taking a first impressions look at Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn. This is the base vanilla version of this MMORPG. We're not going to be looking at the expansions today, and really just a refresher because this game's been out for quite some time and there's a lot of hype about Final Fantasy XIV right now because they're launching a new expansion this summer called Shadowbringers, and it's time that we take a look at it and check out your first steps as a new player. What's your first half an hour like? What are the graphics like? What are the animations like? So here we are in the character creation screen. Once you make a new character, we'll be jumping into game, and I believe there's a tutorial as well. Anyway, some info here while we look at all the different races in this world. This is Final Fantasy XIV. This is a subscription-based game, so you have to buy the base game and maintain a subscription. I believe it's the usual $14.99 a month or whatever, depending on which region you're in, to play the game. And you got to buy all the expansions too in order to access this. It's only one of a handful of MMOs left that actually use the subscription model. World of Warcraft being one of them, and Final Fantasy being the other. So here we are, the races. They're named differently, of course, from what you're used to. So the healer over here are humans in a way, and they have their own backstory. And then you've got the elfy-looking people, the short-looking people, the cat people, the big guys, and the aura. So I'm just going with that. We'll go with the standard boring human. Actually, no. Let's go for a Mikote. I hope I'm saying that right. Let's go female. And from here you can check out the unique poses and see the animations, and it's also good to know that Final Fantasy XIV is available on your PC as well as the PlayStation 4 if you want to play it on console. And the graphics do translate pretty well, especially for a game that was made, 6 years ago now, and then got shut down and remade from the ground up. So anyway, you can also change the background just to see what your character looks like in the open world. And yeah, it's no Black Desert Online, obviously, which is another Asian MMO from Korea. Final Fantasy XIV is obviously from Japan. This is made by Square Enix. So let's go ahead and confirm this, and let's make this character. You can pick two different variations in terms of your character's clan. Either you're Seekers of the Sun or Keepers of the Moon. And this, of course, has cosmetic differences, as you can see, and lower on the left side, too. We'll go with Keepers of the Moon. And you can change your character's height. But really, you have a lot of customization options on the left side. So bust size, tail shape, of course, that's depending on your class. And you can pretty much play with this. I'm quite happy with the amount of choices that Final Fantasy gives you. And there is a shop that you can visit too. It's called the Mog Station, which sells optional items. You can buy extra hairstyles and, you know, makeup and all this kind of stuff. So I'm going to leave it at default. Let's get straight into the game. Let's go ahead and confirm this. And we'll watch a short cutscene. I'm just going to confirm everything here. And I'll catch you guys. Wait. Save. Yeah, well, you can save your character creation stuff if you wanted to. I'm just going to confirm everything. Do I have to do it for everything? Apparently so. Yeah, it takes you through all the options, which means the game really wants you to make a decision right now. Okay, I'm happy with that. Can we go on now? Confirm. There we go. No. All right. So last thing to do is just pick your character's birthday or whatever, and the deity that you pray to. I'm just gonna leave that at default. And now we come to the important part, which is your class, or jobs as it's known in Final Fantasy XIV. So how it works is you can play pretty much all class archetypes on just one character. So you start with base classes, which are Gladiator, the Pugilist, Marauder, Lancer, Archer. These are all Disciples of War. And under Disciples of Magic, you have the casting classes, Conjurer, Thaumaturge, and Arcanist. Now the cool thing is, once you've leveled, you know, any of these base classes from DOW or DOM, when you can get to a certain point, you can unlock jobs for them. So it just branches out into another subclass, a more powerful version with better skills and specialization. So for example, the Lancer becomes the Dragoon later on. and things like that. And there's other new jobs that have been introduced to the game as time went on with all the different expansions. For example, in oh, what's that after Heaven's Word? Uh, well, the second expansion introduced the samurai, for example, so that's pretty cool. But you have to have a DOW at level 50 or more to unlock that job. So that's how it usually works. So for a new character, as long as you pick something that you think is fun for the early levels, go ahead and do it. I'm gonna do a conjurer for this one. Let's go ahead, confirm. You can also pick your starting world. Unicorn is the starting world, and why the game has chosen to pick a starting world for you is because look at this. XP bonuses are currently being granted to all new players created on this world. So this is a road to level 60 buff, which means you will level much faster if you jump into one of these preferred worlds, as they're known. So you help populate the world and also get XP for it. So let's go ahead and click yes. We can create two names here. We're gonna go with MMOSWORLD and YouTube. Let's see if that works. That does. Alright, I'll see you guys in game for the cutscene.
Here. Here. Feel. Hear, feel, think.
Okay, with the cutscene done, we are now in game. That was basically kind of like our origin story, and here we are. It was a dream or something, and right from the get-go, let's just put it out there. Final Fantasy 14. If you're new to this and you're wondering if you jump in, what kind of a game it is a very narrative-heavy, story-driven MMO, and that sort of cutscene and dialogue and voice acting, you will see plenty of that in this game. So here we are, cutscenes and the dialogue. It's a mixture of, you're gonna get some that's voiced, some that's not. And this part is just basically your kind of origin story, Skyrim-like. You're traveling with another passenger here, and we're going to the city of Ul'dah, I believe, which is one of the few starter cities based on factions. So there's 3 factions. There's the Gridania faction, there's the Limsa Lominsa, and then you've got the Ul'dahs. Ah, look, these things, the Mughals. So yeah, if you're a fan of Final Fantasy, you will definitely enjoy kind of a lot of the aesthetic and the presentation of the story. You're going to be reading a lot of dialogue, and there's a ton of characters, which is also great. This is interesting. It's establishing different things about this world, Heidelin, and the region, Eorzea, about this different creatures and stuff like the Moogle, for example. Normal folks can't see them, but we can because we are not normal. And I'm not gonna spoil too much about the story because there's a lot of heavy plot that you're just gonna have to play until level 50, get through the post level 50 content, making your way to the first expansion before a lot of the good, juicy, emotional, world-changing stuff starts to happen. So in that regard, I guess I can say, because it's gonna take us a while before we can even get to like seeing combat in action and everything. We're just gonna go ahead and say that, yeah, it's gonna take a while. It's really slow, way back in the day, especially just to try and get things started. But you will do this a lot, which is play through the MSQ, aka main story quests and scenarios, which you will unlock a lot of the gameplay content in this MMORPG. So in comparison with World of Warcraft, for example, you'll level to a certain point, you'll unlock dungeons along the way, you can do something else to level or whatever. In Final Fantasy XIV, most of that content is locked and gated behind completion of main story quests. So if you don't get up to a certain point, you're not going to see the first dungeon, you're not going to unlock mounts, you're not going to being able to do a lot of these things in game. So it's kind of old-fashioned and strict like that, which I can get. A lot of MMO players don't like that. Players want freedom to pick and stuff like that. But having played Final Fantasy XIV for quite some time now, I can tell you I know why they do it like that. It's because they want you to know the story first and foremost, so you're always up to date on the happenings and why is this class being introduced, why is this character being introduced, and this part you're just picking some shady answer, really. Just why did you become an adventurer? I'm gonna say to win glory. Doesn't change anything, of course. But yeah, you can see the entire presentation for this takes quite a while to get started. We're at about the 5-minute mark since the cutscene, and we haven't even made it to like the first quest giver yet. So Final Fantasy XIV is that kind of game. You will be led on a narrative adventure, unlike anything else in MMOs. Ooh, an arrow. Skirmish up ahead. Nice. Okay, we've got some bad guys now. Here we go. The resident beast tribes of Eorzea. Yeah, this is where you get to see all that cool aesthetic in play. I mean, for a game made in 2013, 2014, I think it still holds up. It still looks good. So, at that point, if you thought you were going to be jumping out of this wagon to learn how to use your combat skills, well, I've got bad news for you. Not quite the case. So, if you said, no, you don't know much about Gridania, this is your opportunity to learn more about it through the NPC. Will it make things go quicker? Not sure. If you hit escape now, you can skip the cutscene, obviously, but I didn't want to do that, just to show you guys what you can expect. This is, of course, your first steps, a video series which shows you what exactly your first steps look like. So anyway, we're almost here now. And we're heading to Gridania, actually, and not Ul'dah. I think that's dependent on different stuff.
Forest, close to the heart of Eorzea. Beneath the boughs of its towering trees lies the woodland city-state of Gridania. Once a sanctuary from the world beyond the hedge, even the mighty elementals, eternal guardians of the forest, could not forestall the coming of the seventh umbral era. However, the goddess Nofika was never one to forsake her children, and today she welcomes another brave soul. One who may yet play a telling role in the tale of this great realm.
Alright, this is it. After that long cart ride, we say goodbye to this guy. Who knows if we'll see him again? We don't know. And yeah, those two people in the background, you may want to keep an eye on them for later on too. So this has been quite a journey so far. And like I said many times, this is what you can expect from Final Fantasy XIV.
Take her to her bosom, that she may never want. And in her heart, sow serenity, purity, and sanctity.
And that is it. That's your introduction to Final Fantasy XIV. We're not done, obviously. We're going to play a little bit more. But that is an elaborate introduction, and one of the longest introductions to an MMO. Never mind a Final Fantasy game, because, you know, we're about 20 minutes in, we haven't even seen combat, we haven't even talked to an NPC yet. So slow build up, but you have to expect this from this game. It's narrative 100% all the way. And that voiceover that you heard there, that's one of the examples too. It's really high quality. They've got some really great voice actors, but it doesn't happen a lot. Like, not every quest in this is going to be voiced, like the Elder Scrolls Online, or, you know, more recently, some of the more recent MMOs that try and put more production value into their kind of story content. But for all the main quests that have vital plot moments, you will hear voiceovers. So here we got stopped by one of the Gridanian guards. Your face is not known to me. So yeah, more introductions. We have the peoples of the land, and like I said, we're in one of the 3 starter areas, depending on what race and, you know, job you pick or whatever. So welcome to Gridania, vibrant forest. And you can pick here between using a controller, which also works fantastic. If you have an Xbox One controller plugged to your PC, you can use that. Or if you have any other emulator, you can use that too. So a mouse and keyboard. And here's the tutorial, very basic and standard, obviously. You can open up the browser and look at the play guide. Some of the stuff in here, you know, if you're new to MMOs, you're new to Final Fantasy, you may want to give that a read. But basic stuff applies. WASD to move. Oops, my bad. And basic controls again, spacebar to jump, right mouse button, hold it down, you can move your character, left mouse button, you can take a view of the world. So let's go ahead and talk to the quest giver. Now, just take a look at the UI. Up here you've got the current home world, and now they've just added a new feature that lets you visit other servers known as worlds. And you have, of course, your mail. And in the bottom right is where you'll see all the different options that you have for stuff. The UI is pretty decent, and yeah, this is where the buff happens. You can see all your buff icons, and this one is the road to 60. This is what I'm talking about, and you'll earn more experience points if you create a character now on one of those preferred servers. And if you look at my character, you'll notice that there is a name tag, right? MMOSWORLD YouTube. Beside it, there's a little green leaf, and that suggests that I am a new player. If you hit O and you click on that and you edit search info, you'll see that there's a whole bunch of different stuff. If you're a returning player, you'll get a returning player icon too, and you can set a whole bunch of different things. And depending on what data center you're on, there's EU, NA, or whatever, you can, you know, select the different languages that you speak. So, you know, when you're party finding or whatever, people can find you easy. So let's go ahead and talk to this guy. So the tutorial is really in depth in here because it's a very high quality game in a way, because it's Square Enix, because it's Final Fantasy. The creators of this game had to expect that non-MMO players but are very strong Final Fantasy fans would come to this game and play it. So they've made the tutorial in a way that treats new players as non-MMO players. So for me, as an MMO veteran, it can get quite annoying every time I start a new character because you don't really have a choice. You got to go through it and, you know, skip as much as you can. So here we have more cutscene style dialogue. And this is just one way that the story is presented to you. Later on, there's going to be full cinematic rendered cutscenes that look absolutely amazing. So duty list is kind of important for you. The duty finder later on that you'll unlock through the main story quest is how you queue for dungeons, and there's tons of other dungeons here. There's a scaling system as well. There's plenty of stuff. So in my journal here, coming to Gridania, speak to Miyuni. I know I'm pronouncing that wrong, but I don't care. And so far, you don't see a whole lot of players in here. I think this is instance to beginners only. I have one skill so far, and that's stone. And if you open your P bar, you can see all the skills that you unlock based on your levels, and you can just drag that down to the hotbar when they become available. Later on, once you've branched out and got your first job, you'll find more skills. Traits, on the other hand, are passive. You don't have to do anything about it. You can get pets, companions, you can get a chocobo, of course, and you can summon it to follow you on the land, and it can heal you or damage for you, tank for you. So there's a lot of systems and mechanics that Final Fantasy XIV has that I don't think we'll be able to talk about in this video. This is just to give you a primer on what your first maybe 25 minutes is going to look like. So this should be another dialogue cutscene style introduction. Now again, all of this can be skipped, of course. If you're trying to catch up with someone, just hit the escape button, you can skip all that. So let's just do that for the sake of not spoiling anything got to do with the story so far. Let's move along and see how long does it take for us to get anywhere near a combat tutorial state. Because if we don't get it in half an hour, this will be the first MMO Let's Play video that we've done that has no combat. That we couldn't get to the combat within the first half an hour. Alright, so now that we've unlocked that part, main scenario quests are important, of course. I talked about that already. This icon is going to be super important for new players. This means that by completing this quest, you will unlock something in game, and there are various websites that you can browse to see what exactly the quests are by just googling the name of the quest and see what it unlocks. That's how you unlock dungeons and mounts and all other features, dying system, cosmetic system, you name it. So let's go ahead and pick up the next quest. This is going to be another cutscene. Again, I'm going to skip it for brevity and trying to keep the spoilers away. But yeah, look at that XP go. The bonus XP is going to be absolutely handy. And if you are new to the game and you've probably just pre-ordered maybe the Shadowbringers expansion, then you may get some bonus XP earrings and things like that. Be sure to wear them on, this new server as well. The main menus become unlocked. Great. Sanctuary simply means in towns. This icon down here means you're earning rested XP. And yeah, so this is what I mean by a very in-depth tutorial made for players that are non-MMO veterans. So this means I can join the Novice Guild, where you can get help from other players and stuff. It opens up a new chat channel too, new adventurers. So that's done. We've unlocked that. Great. Look, other players. Excellent. So now I'm out of the tutorial phasing. Now we get to go into the world in earnest. So let's go up and head into the main area of the map. You can enlarge that if you want. I really like the UI for Final Fantasy XIV. So the map is also interactive. You can see what quests you have available, and the different guilds here are for all the different classes that you can go and pick up quests and stuff like that. The Chocobo Keep is basically how you unlock mounts. Not really. I mean, it's a transportation system. Like you can rent a Chocobo, or you can buy a ride to another part of the region or map that has a sort of like a Chocobo station too. So here, Bernadette, what do you want? Okay. Hopefully. Okay, no combat yet. So it's still teaching you basics right now. So here we have an aetheryte. This big thing is how you bind a return key so you can return to this place faster, and how you travel to other aetheryte zones too. So this is the main one, and once I've bound myself to this and unlocked that, see this little one over here? So every time I click on that, this Archer's Guild will become an option that I can pick from the main one to automatically port over there. So that's really handy. Kind of think of it as ESO's way shrines or Guild Wars 2's waypoint system. It sort of has that sort of functionality, which is handy, but it does cost gil, which is the in-game money you pay gil if you want to quickly port here and there. So this is just NPCs telling you exactly what I just told you, so I'm going to go ahead and skip all this because it's not necessary. Return learn. So by doing that main story quest, I now have the return skill. So all I got to do is just set home point. Well, it's already done for me, so I don't need to do it anymore. Just get rid of that return. Get rid of that. And done. It's on my hotbar. So next up, visit the Conjurer's Guild, which is... hang on, what's this? No. Main story. Conjurer's Guild. Old Gridania? Yep, it's in Old Gridania. And it is right there. Since I don't have Conjurer's Guild unlocked, I have to manually make it on foot. Oh gosh, look at the time. I'm way over for a 25-minute video, and yeah, we still haven't seen combat yet in Final Fantasy XIV. So I guess I'm gonna wrap it up with some final thoughts about your first steps here. Hey, look, if you're a new player coming into Final Fantasy XIV, two things. If you're not an MMO player, do everything the tutorial tells you to do. You know, watch some videos online. It can get pretty overwhelming trying to figure out, you know, what do you do? What quests are important? Are side quests important? Or do I just follow the main story? That really comes down to you. Are you in a rush to level up, or do you want to take your time? Because the questing in Final Fantasy XIV, side quests, especially in the base game of Realm Reborn, from 0 to 50, can get really boring because it's predominantly kill quests and fetch quests, although there is some options in between, like the dungeons, which you have to unlock. There's also fates, which are kind of like open world organic sort of content. Think of it as like WoW's kind of world quests or whatever. And then you've got hunting logs over here, which is to kill a bunch of monsters for XP and challenges and stuff. So there's a whole lot that you can use to, you know, make it less boring. But it's going to be quite a slow grind, which is why being on a server which gives you more XP faster is always good. Because in my opinion, the best part of Final Fantasy XIV is definitely post level 50, post Realm Reborn. If you're a veteran of MMOs but coming to Final Fantasy XIV, what's the best part about this game? My opinion is it's the story content. The main story post level 50 is fantastic, and the dungeons and raids are all good stuff. So that's my 2 cents in this. This has been a first impressions look, your first steps in Final Fantasy XIV as a new player. We have seen so much story and dialogue that I've had to skip for spoilers, and just tutorials in general. So if you want to check it out, you know, buy the game and pay the sub. Is it worth the subscription? My opinion, yes. So I hope you found this video insightful or whatever. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to MMOSWORLD for more stuff. As ever, I'm Adrian from MMOSWORLD, signing out.